Life isn't always easy. It can feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders sometimes, and when things get tough, it's easy to wonder if you're strong enough to handle it all. We all go through challenges, and it's natural to want to avoid pain, stress, or anything that feels difficult. But here's the reality. Those struggles are the very things that shape your strength. The hardships, the setbacks, the tough days, these are the moments that over time will build you into someone capable of facing anything life throws your way. This journey isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning to navigate it, to grow through it, and to come out on the other side stronger than you were before. When you understand that struggle isn't a sign of weakness, but a tool for growth, everything changes. In this book, we'll explore how facing challenges directly can teach you more than any smooth path ever could. You'll learn that the real key to personal growth and success doesn't lie in avoiding obstacles. It's about embracing them, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones to becoming stronger, more resilient, and more capable. We'll talk about how pain and progress are deeply connected, how discipline helps you turn tough moments into success, how you can master your emotions when everything feels overwhelming, and how you can find meaning and purpose even in the messiest parts of life. By the end, you'll see that the struggle is not something to fear. It's something you can use to unlock your true potential. So if you're ready to embrace the tough moments and transform them into your greatest strength, keep reading. The journey might be challenging, but it will be worth every step, because in the end you'll realize that the struggle doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger, and you're stronger than you think. Chapter 1. The truth about pain and progress. When you're in the middle of pain, it feels like everything is falling apart. The weight of it can seem unbearable, like the world is pressing in on you from every side. You wonder, how much longer can I keep going? You might question yourself, your purpose, or even the path you've chosen. It's in these moments when it's hardest to believe that this pain is part of something greater. We don't want to accept it because it's uncomfortable, and who likes to be uncomfortable? We want things to feel good, to go smoothly, and to see progress without the struggle. But that's not how it works. Pain and progress are connected in ways that we often don't see. And it's only by embracing the struggle that we truly grow. In this fast-paced world, we're taught to avoid pain. Whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, we're conditioned to believe that discomfort is something to run from. But here's the truth. You're never going to grow without some level of discomfort. Pain is a signal that something in you is being challenged. It's not a sign that you should stop. It's a signal that you're pushing up against your limits. And that's where progress happens. Think about physical fitness for a moment. You go to the gym, and your muscles are sore the next day. It feels like you've done something wrong, but you know deep down that the soreness means you've worked those muscles hard enough to stimulate growth. They tear a little, they rebuild stronger, and the cycle repeats. The more consistently you work, the stronger your body gets. You don't see results overnight, but over time your strength increases and your endurance improves. It's the same with any challenge in life. You don't see the growth immediately, but every challenge, every moment of discomfort is strengthening you in ways you don't yet understand. Pain doesn't mean you've failed. It's simply the sign that you're learning, evolving, and stepping out of your comfort zone. In fact, it's often the toughest experiences that shape us the most. Think about some of the hardest moments in your life, those moments that you didn't think you could get through. It could have been a personal loss, a setback at work, or a time when you felt completely overwhelmed. But look at you now. You're still here. You didn't give up. And that's because even in the hardest moments, something inside you kept moving forward. That's strength. It's not the absence of pain or difficulty. It's the ability to keep going despite it. The world wants you to believe that success is a smooth, upward trajectory, We're sold this idea that success is all about hustle, all about speed, all about getting to the next thing quickly. But that's not the reality. Success isn't about avoiding struggle, it's about learning to navigate through it. It's about building the resilience to face adversity head-on and coming out stronger on the other side. If you want to achieve anything worthwhile in life, you have to understand that pain is a part of the process. And it's okay. It's natural. The sooner you accept that struggle is inevitable, the sooner you can shift your mindset from avoiding pain to embracing it. This doesn't mean you should go looking for pain or discomfort. It simply means that when life throws challenges your way, and it will, you can approach them with the understanding that these struggles are part of your growth. They are not there to stop you, they are there to teach you, shape you, and push you forward. There's a power that comes from embracing pain, from looking at hardship and saying, "I'm not afraid of this, I can handle this." It's in those moments when you push through, when you face your fears, when you keep going even when it feels impossible, that you build resilience. You develop a strength that doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from facing them head-on. And as you do this, you start to notice something incredible. You stop being afraid of the struggle. You start to see it for what it really is, an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become better. That's how you start to change your relationship with pain. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're doing something wrong, you begin to see it as a sign that you're on the right track. You're pushing yourself to new heights, testing your limits, and moving closer to your goals. Every time you get through a tough situation, you add a little more strength to your foundation. You build resilience, and you develop the mental toughness needed to handle even bigger challenges down the road. Pain and progress are always connected. It's easy to look at someone who seems to have it all together and think, why don't they have to struggle like I do? But the truth is, everyone has their own battles. No one escapes pain. The difference is how we respond to it. The people who succeed are the ones who choose to keep going even when things get hard. They understand that struggles are just temporary, but the strength and growth that come from them last forever. You have the power to decide how you will approach pain in your own life. Will you let it stop you, or will you let it shape you? Will you shrink back when things get tough, or will you press forward, knowing that this pain is leading you towards something better? It's your choice. You don't need to be afraid of struggle. You don't need to see it as an obstacle. Instead, learn to see it as the tool that will help you unlock your potential. The struggles you face today will prepare you for the successes of tomorrow. And when you look back, you'll see how far you've come, how much you've grown, and how much stronger you've become because you embraced the pain instead of running from it. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time you feel like quitting, remember this: pain is not the enemy. It's the stepping stone to progress. It's the very thing that will shape you into the person you need to be. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it fuel your growth. You are stronger than you think, and this pain, it's only making you stronger. Chapter 2: Building Resilience, the Foundation of Strength. When you look at someone who seems strong, it's easy to assume they've always been that way. We look at people who handle stress, adversity, and challenges with ease, and we think, how do they do it? They must be different from me. But here's the truth: strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And just like physical muscles, resilience and mental toughness grow through consistent effort, practice, and overcoming hardship. Building resilience doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. And there's no magical formula that suddenly makes you impervious to life's challenges. Resilience is the result of facing difficulties head-on, learning from them, and using that knowledge to become stronger. The more you face tough situations, the more you train your mind and spirit to handle whatever life throws at you. It's a gradual process. It's like going to the gym. At first, you may feel weak, sore, or frustrated, but over time the effort pays off. The key is consistency. Every time you push yourself, every time you refuse to give up, you build resilience. This might seem daunting, especially when you're going through a difficult time. It's easy to think, I'm not strong enough to handle this, or I'm just not built for this kind of struggle. But what you don't realize is that the struggle itself is what is building your strength. It's easy to think of resilience as something that comes from a calm and easy life, but in reality, it's the hardships that create it. Each time you face a challenge, you learn how to adapt, how to cope, and how to push forward. You develop a level of inner toughness that you wouldn't have gained otherwise. Think of a tree standing strong against the wind. The more it faces storms, the deeper its roots grow. It's not the calm, sunny days that make the tree strong. It's the storms that test its strength. And just like that tree, the more storms you weather, the deeper your resilience becomes. Every hardship is a chance to develop your roots, to become stronger, and to grow in ways you might not fully understand at the time. Building resilience requires a mindset shift. It's about seeing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities. It's about reframing your thoughts when you hit a rough patch, understanding that you're not stuck or defeated. Instead, you're being shaped, you're being tested, and through that test, you are becoming someone stronger. The hardships you face today are laying the foundation for the person you'll become tomorrow. It's easy to get discouraged in the moment, especially when things seem overwhelming. But what you need to realize is that this is part of your growth process. The things that feel hardest right now will eventually be the things that define your strength. A huge part of building resilience is accepting that setbacks are inevitable. Life is full of ups and downs, and no one is immune to that. But it's how you respond to those setbacks that determines your strength. When you face a challenge, do you give up, or do you dig deeper? Do you let the difficulty overwhelm you, or do you find a way to adapt and move forward? Resilience isn't about never failing. It's about bouncing back after you fall. It's about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and trying again, each time with more knowledge and wisdom. There's no shame in struggling. It's a part of life. But how you choose to deal with that struggle is what matters. Resilience is built by putting one foot in front of the other, even when you don't feel like it. It's about staying the course, even when the path gets rough. It's about learning how to cope, to adjust and to grow. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. One of the most powerful things you can do to build resilience is to remind yourself that this is a process. Growth doesn't happen in a straight line. There will be times when you feel like you're making no progress at all, or when you feel like you're backpedaling. But even in those moments, you're still building strength. Even when you don't see immediate results, keep going. Stay committed to the process. Every day that you show up, every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth. And as you keep pushing forward, you'll begin to see just how much stronger you're becoming. Another important aspect of building resilience is learning to manage your mindset. The way you think about challenges has a huge impact on how well you handle them. If you approach life with the mindset that challenges are just roadblocks that you can't get past, then that's exactly what they'll be. But if you reframe challenges as opportunities to grow and learn, then they become stepping stones on your path to becoming stronger. Resilience comes from the belief that you can handle whatever life throws at you, that you are capable, that you are adaptable, and that you have what it takes to come out the other side even better than before. Sometimes, building resilience requires patience. You won't always feel strong in the moment. You won't always see the progress you're making. But resilience is like building muscle. It doesn't happen instantly. It takes time. It takes effort. And it takes consistent practice. Every time you face a challenge and keep going, even when it's hard, you add to your resilience. Every failure, Every setback, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to build strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. It's important to be kind to yourself during this process. You won't always have the energy or the motivation to keep going. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when you question whether it's worth it, and when you wonder if you're even capable of overcoming the obstacles in front of you. In those moments, remember this: resilience doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you don't let the struggle define you. It means you keep going, even when it feels hard. It means you keep showing up, day after day, and trust that your efforts will pay off. When you look back on your life, you'll be amazed at how much you've grown. You'll see the strength you've built from every challenge, every moment of discomfort, and every time you pushed through when you didn't think you could. Building resilience is about embracing the struggle, learning from it, and using it to become a stronger, more capable version of yourself. And when you understand that resilience is something you can develop, you'll start to see challenges not as something to fear, but as something to embrace. The tougher the challenge, the stronger you become. You are not defined by the struggles you face. You are defined by how you rise above them. So the next time you face a challenge, remember it's not about avoiding hardship. It's about building the resilience to handle it. You're capable of far more than you think. And every step you take through the struggle, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the person you're meant to be. Chapter 3. Discipline, turning struggle into success. Discipline is one of those things people often talk about, but not everyone really understands. It's not just about willpower or forcing yourself to do things you hate. Discipline is about making choices that align with the life you want to live. It's about showing up for yourself, even when it's hard, because you know the effort will pay off in the long run. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to have it all together. Whether they're successful in their careers, in great shape, or just genuinely happy, I guarantee discipline played a big role in getting them there. They weren't born with some magical ability to stay on track. They built it over time by consistently doing the things that mattered, even when they didn't feel like it. Discipline starts with clarity. You need to know what you're working toward and why it matters to you. Without a clear goal, it's easy to get distracted or give up when things get tough. Take a moment to think about what you want out of life. Is it financial stability, a healthier body, stronger relationships? Whatever it is, get specific. The clearer your vision, the easier it is to stay focused. Once you know what you're aiming for, the next step is breaking it down into smaller, manageable actions. Big goals can feel overwhelming, and that's where most people get stuck. But when you focus on the next step instead of the entire journey, it becomes much more doable. For example, if your goal is to get in shape, don't stress about losing 50 pounds or running a marathon. Start with a 10-minute walk or swapping out soda for water. Small steps lead to big results over time. One of the hardest parts of discipline is staying consistent. It's easy to be motivated at the beginning, when everything feels new and exciting. But what happens when that excitement fades? That's when discipline kicks in. It's the ability to keep going, even when you'd rather not. And let's be honest, there will be days when you don't feel like putting in the work. That's normal. The key is to show up anyway, even if you're not giving 100%. Effort, no matter how small, keeps the momentum going. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. You're going to mess up. You're going to have days when you fall off track, and that's okay. What matters is how you respond. Instead of beating yourself up, remind yourself why you started and get back to it. One bad day doesn't erase all the progress you've made. Every time you choose to keep going, you're building a habit. And habits are the foundation of discipline. A big part of discipline is learning to say no. This can be tough. especially if you're a people pleaser or someone who likes to keep everyone happy. But every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to yourself. It's not selfish to prioritize your growth and well-being. In fact, it's necessary. Start paying attention to how you spend your time and energy. Are your choices moving you closer to your goals or further away? If it's the latter, it might be time to make some changes. Accountability can make a huge difference when it comes to discipline. Share your goals with someone you trust, whether it's a friend, family member, or mentor. Having someone to check in with can help keep you on track and motivated. They don't have to do the work for you, but knowing someone's rooting for you can be a powerful boost. It's also important to celebrate your progress along the way. Discipline doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. In fact, rewarding yourself for your hard work can help reinforce the habits you're building. Treat yourself when you hit a milestone, whether it's a night out, a new book, or simply taking a break to relax. Acknowledging your progress reminds you that the effort is worth it. Another thing to remember is that discipline is a skill, not a trait. It's something you can develop and strengthen with practice. Start small and build from there. Over time, the things that felt difficult will become second nature. And as you grow more disciplined, you'll notice it spills over into other areas of your life. The effort you put into one goal will make it easier to tackle the next one. At its core, discipline is about self-respect. It's a way of showing yourself that you're worth the effort. It's about believing in your ability to create the life you want and taking the steps to make it happen. Yes, it takes work, but the rewards are worth it. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And that kind of belief in yourself is powerful. So the next time you're tempted to skip the workout, procrastinate on a project, or settle for less than you deserve, pause for a moment. Remind yourself why you started and what's at stake. Then take a deep breath and take that next step. Because every choice you make is shaping the person you're becoming. And with discipline, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 4. Mastering your emotions under pressure. We all experience moments when life throws something at us that feels too much to handle. Maybe it's an unexpected challenge, a confrontation, or a stressful situation at work or in your personal life. In these moments, emotions can rise to the surface and they can be overwhelming. Anger, fear, anxiety, they can all rush in like a flood, threatening to drown your ability to think clearly and make decisions. But here's the thing, you don't have to let your emotions control you. In fact, you have the power to control your emotions. It's not easy, and it takes practice, but it's possible. The key is learning how to master your emotions, especially under pressure. It's in these high-pressure moments that your ability to stay calm, composed, and rational will determine your success or failure. Now, when I say master your emotions, I don't mean that you should ignore them or pretend they don't exist. Emotions are natural. They're part of being human. They tell us something about how we're feeling in the moment, and they can even be useful in helping us make decisions. But there's a big difference between acknowledging your emotions and letting them take over. It's about finding a balance, recognizing what you're feeling without letting it control your actions. Let's be real for a second. When things get tough, when the pressure is on, it's easy to get overwhelmed. You feel it, right? The tightness in your chest, your heart racing, your mind spinning in a million directions. But what if, instead of reacting immediately, you took a step back? What if you paused, just for a moment, to breathe, to collect your thoughts, and to make sure you're responding instead of reacting? That pause, that space between the trigger and your response, is where the magic happens. That's where you find control. Think about the times in your life when you've been under pressure. Maybe it was a deadline you were struggling to meet, a difficult conversation you had to have, or a tough decision you had to make. How did you react? Did you lose your cool? Did you let your emotions drive your actions? Or did you take a breath, focus on what mattered, and handle the situation with clarity and composure? The truth is, mastering your emotions doesn't mean you'll never feel stressed or frustrated. It doesn't mean you won't get angry or anxious at times. What it means is that you're able to manage those emotions in a way that doesn't hinder your progress or cloud your judgment. You learn to take a step back, get perspective, and act with intention. The Stoics, who were masters of emotional control, taught us that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." That's the key to emotional mastery. Your response, not the situation itself. When you're under pressure, it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting impulsively. It's tempting to let your emotions take the wheel, whether it's frustration making you snap at someone, fear causing you to freeze, or anxiety making you overthink every little thing. But that's not going to help you in the long run. It might feel like a release in the moment, but it won't lead you to the outcome you want. What you need to do is develop the ability to observe your emotions without getting caught up in them. This is where mindfulness comes into play. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being present in the moment, of observing what's happening around you and within you without judgment. When you can observe your emotions without reacting to them, you take away their power. You become the one in control, not your feelings. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. The more you practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to stay grounded when things start to get overwhelming. But it's not just about mindfulness, it's also about building emotional resilience. The more you put yourself in challenging situations and learn how to respond effectively, the stronger your emotional foundation becomes. Let's talk about some practical ways to handle your emotions when the pressure's on. First, breathing. I know it sounds simple, but it works. When you're feeling overwhelmed, take a few slow, deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a moment, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. This simple technique helps activate your body's relaxation response, calming your nervous system and giving you a moment to collect your thoughts. It's like hitting the reset button for your mind. Second, check your thoughts. Our emotions are often driven by our thoughts. If you're telling yourself, "This is too much, I can't handle this," then your emotions are going to follow suit. But if you reframe that thought and tell yourself, "This is tough, but I can handle it. I've faced challenges before, and I can get through this one too," you'll find that your emotions shift. The power of your mindset is enormous. When you change your thoughts, you change how you feel. Another important thing to keep in mind is perspective. When you're under pressure, it's easy to get tunnel vision, focusing only on the immediate problem. But taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture can help you regain your composure. Ask yourself, is this the end of the world? Is this situation going to matter a year from now? What's the worst that could happen, and how can I deal with it? By shifting your perspective, you give yourself the space to think more clearly and find a solution. One thing that helps me when I'm under pressure is remembering the things I can control and letting go of the things I can't. In every situation, there are elements that are beyond our control. You can't control other people's actions, the weather, or unexpected circumstances. But you can always control how you respond. You can control your attitude, your focus, and your effort. When you shift your attention to what you can control, you'll find that your emotions become less overwhelming. Finally, Practice self-compassion. When things aren't going well, it's easy to be hard on yourself. You might think you should have done better or handled things differently, but beating yourself up only adds more stress to an already stressful situation. Instead, be kind to yourself. Recognize that you're doing the best you can with what you have. Treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a friend in the same situation. You're human, and you're allowed to feel. What matters is how you handle those feelings. At the end of the day, mastering your emotions under pressure is about taking control of yourself. It's about not letting external circumstances dictate how you feel or act. It's about building resilience and emotional strength so that no matter what life throws at you, you're able to face it with confidence and composure. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. You're not going to master your emotions overnight, but with time and practice, you will get better at handling pressure. And the more you practice, the more it will become second nature. Eventually, you'll find that you can handle anything that comes your way, no matter how challenging it may seem. So the next time you're under pressure, remember to pause, breathe, and take control of your emotions. It's not about avoiding stress or difficult situations. It's about how you manage them. Your emotions don't have to define you. You have the power to define how you respond. And that is the key to staying strong under pressure. Chapter 5: Finding Meaning in the Mess. Life is messy. It's not always neat, not always predictable, and it certainly doesn't follow the script we often try to write for it. It's easy to look around and see chaos, whether in our personal lives, in the world at large, or even just in the mess of emotions we feel day to day. But here's the thing, even in the mess, there's meaning, there's purpose. We might not always see it right away, and sometimes it feels like things are falling apart, but it's often in those very moments that we're being shaped into who we need to become. It's hard to find meaning when you're in the middle of a storm. When everything around you feels out of control, it can be tough to make sense of the chaos. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult relationship, a career setback, or a personal challenge that just won't seem to go away. Whatever it is, the mess can feel overwhelming. But it's important to remember, the mess is not the end of your story, it's part of it. And often, it's through the mess that we find our strength, our purpose, and our direction. Think about a time when things didn't go the way you planned. Maybe it was a career setback, a health issue, or something unexpected that threw you off track. It probably felt like everything was falling apart. But now, looking back, can you see how that experience changed you? Can you see how it helped you grow? In the moment, it's easy to get caught up in the frustration, in the disappointment. But when you look back with perspective, you might realize that the mess actually led you to a better place. You learned something about yourself that you wouldn't have learned otherwise. You gained strength that you couldn't have gained if everything had gone smoothly. I think one of the hardest things to come to terms with is that life doesn't always follow the plan we have in our heads. We all have a picture in mind of how things are supposed to go. We set goals, we create visions of our future, and we work toward them with everything we have. And when things don't go according to that plan, it can feel like failure. But in reality, it's rarely failure. It's just life unfolding in ways we didn't expect. I've learned that the mess is actually where the magic happens. When things are neat and predictable, we don't change, we don't grow. It's when we're faced with challenges, when we're dealing with the unexpected, the uncomfortable, and the difficult, that we are forced to dig deeper. We're forced to confront parts of ourselves that we may not have seen before. And in doing so, we uncover strength, resilience, and purpose that we didn't even know we had. If you've ever been through a tough time, you probably know what I'm talking about. Maybe you've been knocked down, lost something important to you, or faced a situation where it felt like everything was working against you. In those moments, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. It's easy to focus on what's wrong, what's missing, what isn't going according to plan. But if you can find the courage to step back, to take a deep breath, and to look at the situation from a different angle, you might begin to see the meaning in the mess. Sometimes the meaning is found in the lessons we learn. Maybe you learned that you're stronger than you thought, or that you can handle more than you gave yourself credit for. Maybe you learned that you need to ask for help when things get tough, or that you need to slow down and take care of yourself. Every experience, no matter how messy, offers an opportunity for growth. It's through those challenges that we uncover the truths about who we really are and what we're capable of. Other times, the meaning is found in the connections we make. When we go through tough times, we often find that we're not alone. We connect with others who have been through similar struggles, or we open up to people in ways we never have before. These connections are meaningful because they remind us that we're all in this together. We're all human, we all face hardships, and we all have the capacity to overcome them. But perhaps the most important thing to realize about finding meaning in the mess is that it's not always about having all the answers. Sometimes, meaning comes from simply accepting that you don't know everything. Sometimes it's about trusting that even when things don't make sense, there's still a purpose behind it all. Life doesn't always give us clear answers right away, but if you can sit with the discomfort, if you can allow yourself to feel lost and uncertain, you might discover that the answers come when you least expect them. The mess is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced, because it's in the mess that we discover who we truly are and what we're capable of. One of the most freeing things you can do is to stop trying to control everything. Life is unpredictable, people are unpredictable, and sometimes things just happen that are beyond our control. The more we try to control every little detail, the more we fight against the natural flow of life. And the more we fight, the more frustrated we become. Instead of trying to control everything, try letting go. Trust that even in the mess, things are unfolding as they should. Trust that there is meaning in the chaos, even if you can't see it yet. It's important to note that finding meaning in the mess doesn't mean you have to be okay with everything that happens. It doesn't mean you have to like every difficult situation you face. It doesn't mean that everything that goes wrong is somehow part of a grand plan. But it does mean that even in the mess, there is value. There are lessons to be learned, growth to be experienced, and opportunities to change the course of your life. When you can look at life in this way, it changes how you experience everything. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to learn, grow, and become stronger. The Stoics understood this. They knew that life was full of uncertainty and challenges, but they also knew that how we react to those challenges is what defines us. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he meant was that every obstacle, every bit of mess, is an opportunity to move forward. It's not a reason to stop, it's a reason to keep going. The very things that seem to block your path may be the things that ultimately push you toward the life you're meant to live. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of a messy situation, remember this: there is meaning in the mess. You might not see it yet, but if you keep moving forward with an open heart and mind, you'll find it. You'll find strength you didn't know you had, lessons that will stay with you, and purpose in the most unexpected places. And when you look back on that mess, you'll realize that it wasn't just a challenge to survive. It was the moment you truly began to grow. Chapter 6. The value of hard work in a quick-fix world. We live in a world that's constantly looking for shortcuts, hacks, and instant solutions. You see it everywhere. The promise of quick fixes, fast results, and easy paths to success. The internet is filled with get-rich-quick schemes, life hacks that supposedly solve all your problems with minimal effort, and advertisements that guarantee results without the sweat and struggle. It's all designed to give us what we want right now. But here's the thing, real success doesn't work that way. It never has, and it never will. In this quick-fix world, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that we can skip the hard work and still get the results we want. It's tempting to look for the shortcut, the easier path, the one that promises the same rewards without all the struggle. But the reality is that this mindset is dangerous. It's the illusion of success, and it only leads to disappointment in the end. The truth is that hard work, the kind that requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to put in the hours, still holds the most value. It's the work that no one sees, the behind-the-scenes effort that doesn't get the applause, but it's the work that pays off in the long run. It's the kind of work that builds real character, real skills, and real success. Look, we all want things to happen quickly. We want to see results fast. And when you're working hard, it can feel frustrating when it seems like everyone else is getting ahead without putting in the same effort. You scroll through social media and see others seemingly living their best lives, achieving their goals, and making it look easy. It's easy to think that success comes easily to some people, and you start to wonder if you're doing something wrong. But what you're not seeing is the time, the effort, and the sacrifices that went into getting to that point. Behind every success story, there's a lot of hard work that's not visible to the outside world. This is where the value of hard work comes in. It's not about instant results. It's about the process. It's about committing to something over the long haul and not giving up when things get tough. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and putting in the effort, even when the results aren't immediate. And when you look back at the end of the journey, you'll see that every bit of effort, every ounce of persistence was worth it. We need to reframe how we think about hard work. Too often, we think of it as a chore, something we have to do just to get by. But what if we started to see hard work as the foundation of growth? Every hour you put in, every task you complete, every mistake you make, is a part of your growth. The work itself is where the value is. It's the process of learning, refining your skills, and pushing through challenges that shapes you into the person who can handle bigger challenges and bigger successes down the road. The Stoics understood this idea very well. They weren't interested in shortcuts or easy answers. They believed that true strength and wisdom came through practice and discipline. It wasn't about avoiding the difficult parts of life. It was about embracing them. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, talked about how life's challenges were opportunities for growth. He believed that by facing adversity and working through difficulties, we develop the qualities that make us strong and capable. When you commit to hard work, you start to develop resilience. You start to learn how to keep going when things get tough, how to stay focused on the long-term goals even when the immediate rewards aren't showing up. Hard work forces you to build patience, to trust the process, and to keep moving forward even when it feels like nothing is changing. But here's the thing, when you look back after a year, 5 years, or even 10 years, you'll see how far you've come. You'll realize that all that effort, all that persistence, paid off in ways you couldn't have predicted. Now, this doesn't mean that hard work alone is enough. You also need to work smart. It's not about doing endless hours of busy work. It's about being strategic and focused with your time. But working smart is nothing without working hard. You need to show up every day, put in the time, and do the work. You need to give your best, even when you feel like you're not seeing immediate results. It's easy to be motivated when everything is going well, but true discipline comes when things aren't going according to plan, when the progress feels slow, and when you're tired. That's when the real value of hard work shines through. There's something incredibly fulfilling about the process of hard work. It's not just about reaching the end goal. It's about who you become in the process. Every challenge, every setback, every failure teaches you something. Every time you get up and keep going, you're strengthening your character. Hard work isn't just about building a career, a business, or achieving personal goals. It's about building yourself. It's about becoming the person who is capable of handling success, who is resilient in the face of challenges, and who knows that the journey is just as important as the destination. You might not see immediate results, and that's okay. Real growth takes time. It's the compounding effect of small actions done consistently over time that leads to real success. It's easy to get discouraged when the results aren't as fast as you'd like, but trust me, the hard work will pay off. It might take longer than you expect, and it might not always look the way you imagined, but if you keep putting in the effort, you'll get there. One of the most important things you can do is to embrace the discomfort that comes with hard work. It's not always going to be easy. There will be days when you want to quit, days when you feel like you're not making any progress, and days when the work feels like too much. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that build your strength. Those are the days when you prove to yourself that you have the discipline to keep going, even when it's hard. In a world that values instant gratification, hard work may seem like a lost art, but I promise you, the value of hard work is timeless. It's what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who are constantly chasing the next quick fix. So don't let the pressure of a quick fix world make you believe that hard work doesn't matter. It's the foundation of everything that's worth achieving. The more you commit to putting in the effort, the more you'll find that hard work becomes its own reward. You'll learn to enjoy the process, to find satisfaction in the work itself, and to trust that the results will come in time. And when they do, you'll know that they were earned, not through shortcuts, not through easy answers, but through the hard, sometimes messy, but always valuable work you put in every single day. Chapter 7. Facing Fear and Doubt with Courage. There's something about fear that has a way of stopping us in our tracks, isn't there? It's like this invisible force that holds us back, tells us we're not good enough, or warns us that something bad is about to happen. Fear can paralyze us. It can convince us that we're not capable, that we're not strong enough, or that the risks are too high. It makes us question everything, our abilities, our decisions, and even our worth. Fear is something that every single one of us faces, no matter how confident we might appear on the outside. But here's the thing, fear doesn't have to control us. It doesn't have to be the thing that holds us back from pursuing our dreams, from reaching our potential, or from taking that next step in our lives. What you have to understand is that fear isn't the enemy, it's how we respond to it that really matters. The truth is, fear is natural. It's part of being human. We all experience it, and yet, so many of us try to avoid it or push it down, thinking that if we ignore it, it will go away. But that's not the way it works. Fear doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. It's always there, lurking in the background, waiting to rear its head when we least expect it. So what do we do with it? How do we move forward when we feel that knot in our stomachs, that voice in our heads telling us that we're not ready, that we're not enough? The answer is simple, though not always easy. We face it, we don't run from it. We don't let it control our actions. We embrace it, understand it, and move through it with courage. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's not about never feeling afraid. In fact, I think courage is even more powerful because it's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about acknowledging that fear is there, but refusing to let it dictate your decisions. It's about standing up, taking that next step, even when you don't know exactly how things will turn out. I've talked to many people who've faced fear in one way or another, and what I've noticed is that the people who are able to push through it, who are able to take action despite their fears, are often the ones who end up achieving great things. They've learned that fear is just a feeling, and feelings don't have to control your actions. You can feel scared, but still choose to act. You can feel doubt, but still decide to keep going. And the more you practice this, the easier it gets. The more you face fear and push through it, the less power it has over you. But here's the thing, it's not always easy. Fear can feel overwhelming. It can make you second-guess your decisions and question whether you're capable of succeeding. It's that voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that you're in over your head. And I know that voice well. I've heard it, too. But every time I've ignored it, every time I've taken a step forward in spite of it, I've been amazed at what I was capable of achieving. One of the most common fears people face is the fear of failure. We're taught from a young age that failure is something to avoid, something that reflects badly on us. But the truth is, failure is not the end of the world, it's a part of the journey. Every single successful person you can think of has failed at something. They've made mistakes, they've fallen down, they've faced setbacks. But what set them apart was not their ability to avoid failure, it was their ability to get back up, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Failure isn't a reflection of who you are. It's just a sign that you're trying. And trying is the only way you'll ever make progress. Another fear that many of us face is the fear of judgment or criticism. The fear of what other people think can be paralyzing. It can make us doubt ourselves and hesitate to take action. But the truth is, other people's opinions are none of your business. People will always have something to say, whether you're succeeding or failing, whether you're doing something right or wrong. The key is to stop seeking approval from others and start seeking approval from yourself. You are the one who has to live with your choices, not anyone else. And once you realize that, it becomes a lot easier to push past the fear of judgment and just do what feels right for you. The thing about fear is that it thrives in uncertainty. It feeds off of the unknown. When we don't have all the answers, when we don't know what's going to happen next, fear swoops in and fills the gap. But the truth is, we never have all the answers. Life is uncertain, and trying to control every outcome is a fool's game. The more we try to predict the future and control every detail, the more anxious we become. The key is to accept that uncertainty is a part of life, and to trust that even when we don't have the answers, we can still take action. Courage is not about knowing everything, it's about taking that next step, even when you can't see the whole path. And then there's self-doubt. Self-doubt is a sneaky kind of fear. It whispers to you that you're not enough, that you're not qualified, that you don't have what it takes. It's that voice in your head that tells you to play it safe, to stay comfortable, to stick with what you know. But self-doubt is often based on nothing more than fear of failure. It's the mind's way of protecting you from potential pain. But you have to ask yourself, what's worse, the pain of trying and failing, or the pain of never trying at all? The truth is, you're more capable than you give yourself credit for. The only thing standing between you and your goals is the courage to push through the fear and the doubt. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take that first step, and then the next one, and then the next. You don't need to know exactly how things will unfold. You just need to trust that if you keep moving forward, you will figure it out as you go. Courage is about taking action, despite the fear. It's about deciding that your goals, your dreams, and your potential are more important than the temporary discomfort that comes with facing fear and doubt. So the next time fear shows up, and it will, I promise you, don't try to ignore it. Don't pretend it's not there. Acknowledge it, feel it, and then do it anyway. Fear is just a signal that you're on the verge of something important. It's a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and into growth. Don't let fear keep you stuck. Use it as fuel to move forward, knowing that on the other side of fear is a version of yourself who is stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Fear doesn't have to be your enemy. It's just a part of the process. And when you face it with courage, you'll find that it no longer has the power to stop you. Instead, it becomes the thing that pushes you forward, that drives you to do what others might be too afraid to try. And in doing so, you'll realize that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the willingness to act, even in the face of fear. Chapter 8: Surrounding yourself with strength. The people you spend your time with matter more than you might think. Think about it for a second. Who do you turn to when things get tough? Who do you celebrate with when things go well? The people in your life can have a huge impact on how you think, how you feel, and how you approach challenges. They shape your beliefs, your mindset, and even your behavior without you even realizing it. If you're constantly around people who are negative, who complain all the time, or who don't believe in growth, it's going to be that much harder for you to stay motivated and focused on your own goals. But when you surround yourself with people who lift you up, who challenge you to be better, and who share your values and vision for the future, you're putting yourself in a much stronger position to succeed. I can't tell you how important it is to choose the right people to spend your time with. It's not about being rude or cutting people out of your life for no reason, but it's about being intentional with who you allow into your circle. You've probably heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's true. If you're around people who have a growth mindset, who are always striving to improve, and who push you to reach your full potential, you're more likely to develop those same qualities yourself. But if you're around people who are stuck in their ways, who are constantly making excuses, or who are always dragging you down, you're going to find it much harder to move forward. Look, I know it's not always easy. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who don't understand our ambitions or dreams. They may not see the same vision we have for our lives, or they might be too caught up in their own struggles to support us in the way we need. And that can be tough. It's hard when the people you love and care about aren't as enthusiastic about your goals as you are. But that's where you have to get clear on what you want and what kind of energy you want to be around. You have to be willing to protect your own growth by surrounding yourself with people who are going to fuel you, not to drain you. This doesn't mean you have to cut people off, but it does mean being mindful of how much of your time and energy you give to certain relationships. If someone is consistently bringing negativity into your life, it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to decide that you're not going to let their energy influence the way you show up. And it's not about being selfish, it's about being smart. Your time is limited, and the people you surround yourself with should be helping you move in the direction you want to go, not holding you back. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in your circle has to be on the same level as you, or that you can only hang out with people who are doing exactly what you're doing. But it's important to find people who share similar values, who inspire you, and who believe in growth. You need people who challenge you to think bigger, to push harder, and to become a better version of yourself. If you're always the one doing the lifting, the one carrying the weight, eventually you're going to burn out. You need people who will support you, hold you accountable, and remind you of your own strength when you forget. Here's the thing: strength is contagious. When you're around people who are strong, people who are resilient, who stay calm under pressure, and who are determined to succeed, it's going to rub off on you. You'll start to adopt their mindset. You'll start to see challenges as opportunities instead of obstacles. You'll begin to develop the same kind of mental toughness that they have. And when you're facing difficult situations, you'll remember that you're not alone. You have a network of people who are just as committed to growth and success as you are. But it's not just about strength in a physical or career sense. It's about emotional and mental strength too. It's about being around people who can help you stay grounded, who can remind you of your worth when you're feeling low, and who can encourage you to keep going even when things are tough. Everyone goes through tough times. Everyone faces setbacks and challenges. But having a solid support system makes all the difference. When you have people who believe in you, who know your potential, and who remind you of it when you forget, it becomes much easier to keep pushing forward. You also need to surround yourself with people who aren't afraid to speak the truth. It's easy to surround yourself with yes men, people who will tell you what you want to hear because they want to keep the peace or stay on your good side. But those aren't the kinds of people who are going to help you grow. You need people who are willing to call you out when you're being lazy, when you're making excuses, or when you're not living up to your potential. These people are the ones who will help you grow the most because they're not afraid to challenge you. They'll push you out of your comfort zone and make you see things from a different perspective. Think about it this way: the people you spend your time with are like the environment you live in. If you surround yourself with people who are toxic, who don't support your goals, or who bring negative energy, it's like living in an environment where growth is impossible. But when you surround yourself with people who are positive, who challenge you to think bigger, and who believe in your potential, you're creating an environment where you can thrive. You're putting yourself in the best position to succeed. At the end of the day, your success is not just about what you do on your own. It's about who you have around you. Success isn't a solo journey. It's about building relationships with people who can help you reach new heights, who can provide support when you need it, and who can challenge you to be better every day. So don't underestimate the power of surrounding yourself with strength. When you're around strong, supportive people, you're going to become stronger yourself. And if you're not sure where to find those kinds of people, start by being the kind of person you want to attract. Be someone who encourages others, who lifts them up, and who believes in growth. The more you embody these qualities, the more likely it is that you'll find people who resonate with them. You'll start attracting like-minded individuals who are just as committed to personal growth and success as you are. And together, you'll create a circle of strength that will help you all reach new levels of success. Chapter 9. The Long Game. Struggle as a tool for lifelong growth. When we think about success, we often picture something that happens quickly. We see the final result, the big accomplishment, the shiny trophy, the dream job, the financial freedom, and we get caught up in the idea that success is a destination you can reach. But that's where we often go wrong. Success isn't about reaching a single destination. It's about the journey, the growth that happens along the way, and the lessons learned from the struggles we face. Struggle isn't a detour, it's a necessary part of the process. And if you want to achieve anything of real substance in life, you need to be prepared for it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that struggle is something we should avoid. We get so caught up in trying to make everything smooth and easy that we miss the point. Struggle is what shapes us. It's what forces us to grow, to develop new skills, and to become more resilient. Every time you face a challenge and push through it, you build strength. You learn something about yourself, about your limits, and about your ability to overcome obstacles. And over time, this process of struggling and overcoming transforms you into someone who is more capable, more resourceful, and more prepared for whatever life throws your way. But here's the thing, this process takes time. There's no shortcut. Growth doesn't happen overnight, and the results of your hard work and struggle won't always be immediately visible. That's why it's important to think long-term. You need to be willing to put in the work, to stay committed even when it feels like nothing is happening, and to trust that your struggles are leading you somewhere meaningful. It's easy to get discouraged when progress seems slow or when the road ahead feels uncertain. But the truth is, this is the work. This is where the growth happens. The struggle you're facing right now is building you up for something greater in the future, even if you can't see it yet. When you're in the middle of a struggle, it's hard to keep that long-term perspective. It feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and the end is nowhere in sight. But if you can zoom out, if you can shift your focus from the immediate pain to the long-term gain, you'll start to see things differently. You'll start to understand that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. You'll see that every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. You'll realize that the discomfort you're feeling today is temporary, but the strength and wisdom you gain from it will stay with you for the rest of your life. One of the most powerful things you can do in the face of struggle is to remind yourself that this is all part of the process. Life is a long game, and the struggles you face now are shaping you into the person you need to be in the future. This mindset is crucial for overcoming the inevitable challenges that will come your way. When you see struggle as a tool for growth, it shifts everything. You stop seeing it as something to avoid or fear, and you start seeing it as an opportunity to develop the qualities you'll need to succeed in the long run. The people who achieve lasting success aren't the ones who avoid struggle, they're the ones who embrace it. They understand that there is no growth without discomfort, no progress without pushing through challenges. They know that every difficulty they face is building their character, strengthening their resolve, and preparing them for the bigger challenges ahead. And it's not just about facing challenges for the sake of it, it's about learning from them. It's about asking yourself what you can take away from each struggle and how you can use that knowledge to become better, stronger, and more capable. There's a saying that goes, "The higher you aim, the harder you fall." But what if we looked at it differently? What if we saw each fall not as a failure but as a lesson? What if we realized that each setback is just another opportunity to get back up, to adjust our strategy, and to keep moving forward with even more determination than before? That's the mindset of someone who understands the long game. They don't get discouraged by the bumps in the road because they know that every struggle is a step closer to their ultimate goal. This is the mindset that allows you to keep going when things get tough, to stay focused when the path ahead seems unclear, and to keep working when you don't see immediate results. It's the mindset that separates those who give up from those who keep pushing, and it's the mindset that ultimately leads to success. But you have to be willing to stay the course. You have to be willing to face the struggles head on and trust that they are making you stronger, even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. And let's be real, there are going to be times when you'll want to quit. There are going to be moments when the struggle feels too overwhelming, when the weight of it all seems unbearable, and when you wonder if it's even worth it. In those moments, it's important to remind yourself that the struggle is not a sign of failure, It's a sign of progress. It's a sign that you're on the right path. Every time you push through a challenge, you become more resilient. Every time you keep going despite the obstacles, you strengthen your character. And every time you face your fears, you gain more confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. The key to long-term success is consistency. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, and putting in the work, even when the results aren't immediately obvious. It's about staying committed to your goals, even when the journey gets tough. And it's about trusting that your efforts will pay off in the long run, even if you can't see the results right now. The struggle is what will make you stronger in the end. And the more you embrace it, the more you'll learn to thrive in the face of adversity. As you continue on your journey, keep this in mind. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's about the small, consistent actions you take every day. It's about building habits that support your growth, even when you don't feel like it. And it's about understanding that every struggle, every setback, and every challenge is part of the process. Don't get discouraged by the tough times. Don't let the obstacles stop you. Keep pushing forward, because the struggles you face today are shaping the person you will become tomorrow. And in the long run, that person will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared to take on whatever life has in store. So when the road gets rough, when the struggles seem endless, remember this: you are building something that will last. You are creating a foundation that will support you through anything that comes your way. And in the end, it's not just the achievements that will matter, it's the person you become in the process. Keep going, keep growing, and trust that the long game is worth it. You've been through more than you realize, and each challenge has made you stronger. In the toughest moments, it's easy to forget your strength, but the truth is, you are more resilient than you think. Every struggle you've faced has prepared you for what's next, building the foundation you need to keep going. So no matter what comes your way, remember this: you have the strength to handle it. You are stronger than you think, and you're more than capable of overcoming whatever challenges lie ahead. Keep going, because you've got this.